Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a un nuevo encuentro virtual, en este caso con motivo de la celebración del Día de la Mujer, celebración a la que se ha sumado la fundación a la que represento y a la que le doy las gracias por seguir patrocinando este tipo de eventos, ya sea en momentos puntuales como puede ser la celebración del Día de la Mujer, aunque sinceramente creo que el Día de la Mujer hay que celebrarlo todos los días, pero bueno, hay una fecha que es el 8 de marzo, y por darle soporte y seguir apoyando este tipo de actividades. A la Cátedra Cultural Moebius de la Universidad de Laguna, por lo que ya he dicho y seguiré diciendo, por darle esa pátina de respetabilidad, de empaque académico que no se le había dado hasta relativamente hace nada dentro del mundo universitario al lenguaje gráfico. A la Santa Cruz Comic, por ser un evento que sigue apostando por ese tipo de cosas cuando cada 2 por 3 hay un evento que desaparece, lo cambian o las condiciones que ponen son todavía peor. Santa Cruz Comic no solo apuesta por la difusión, sino por difundir y por ayudar a las personas que están empezando. A la Riviera del Maldito, en este caso número 2, que es el que se está haciendo cargo de los mandos de la nave, y a todas las instituciones públicas del Ayuntamiento, del Cabildo, del Gobierno de Canarias, por apoyar estas actividades y en este caso especial el Día de la Mujer. A ver, la persona con la que voy a hablar ahora, el mérito no es mío. O sea, el mérito de que esté hablando, vaya a hablar con ella, no es mío. El mérito es de mi hijo mayor, porque él fue el que descubrió este libro. Mírenlo, es o sea, ya la portada es una precisidad, si lo ven por dentro todavía es más lindo. O sea, si ven, por ejemplo, vamos a contar 6 morsas. Miren, aquí tienen 6 bichitos. El mérito es de Bruno, mi hijo mayor, porque él fue el que lo encontró en una biblioteca, perdón, librería, en una biblioteca de aquí. Y la verdad es que se lo estaba diciendo la autora antes de empezar, después de pasarme una semana leyéndolo con ellos, entendí que el libro tenía muchas posibilidades, porque el trabajo de la autora tenía muchas posibilidades. Me puse en contacto con su editorial. Aquí le doy las gracias a la persona responsable de Inavit Media, que fue la persona que me puso en contacto con ella. Y a partir de ahí, pues bueno, han pasado unos cuantos meses y ahora tengo la oportunidad de hablar con ella sobre su trabajo y sobre aquellas cosas que nos gustan a los dos. En primer lugar, voy a tratar de pronunciar bien su nombre. O sea, lo de Coco es fácil. Lo de, creo que es Apunnguag. ¿Is right or not? Because I don't know exactly your
It is very
first at all.
close.
Yes,
It,
it's sorry, but I have the same problem with the Finnish surnames. First at all, thank you very much to agree to have this virtual meeting. And thank you from all this month to answer my questions, my email, and send material, and your enormous patience with me and with the foundation to agree to have this virtual meeting. Interpretar esto es muy sencillo. Le he dicho, primero le he preguntado si he pronunciado bien su apellido, porque como verán, son sus dos apellidos, y este más o menos es sencillito, pero este es un poco más complicado. Me ha dicho que más o menos, ¿vale? Y después le he dado las gracias por haber accedido a tener este encuentro virtual después de todos los meses que hemos estado hasta conseguir que ahora estemos hablando. I know that the first question is obvious, or the classical question, sorry, but it's the way to begin this virtual meeting. Why you do the things you do? In that case, why do you are an illustrator, design characters, or make these wonderful things, or that I like the bird, but it's much more scary than this
yeah.
orcas.
I think like a lot of other creatives, when I grew up, I just knew I wanted to do something creative. And like I just did a lot of creative things for a beginning. I think I knew I wanted to do, like, I knew I wanted to draw and become an illustrator later on when I started studying. But it came in after I've gone through fashion design and multimedia design, and then I finally got into the school that I wanted to go to.
I need to say something. Ella nació en Islandia, pero se mudó a Dinamarca con 5 años y, bueno, tiene nacionalidad danesa, pero no ha perdido no solo por el apellido, no ha perdido las raíces de su país. Y ella es una mezcla entre, vamos a ver, es una persona que vive en el mundo nórdico, lo sé porque yo vivo también en otro país nórdico, en el mismo mundo que vive ella, pero ella tiene muy asumido sus raíces y eso se nota muchísimo en su trabajo. Something I don't say that you born in Iceland, but you grow in Denmark. But you
I'm born in Greenland, and then
yes,
I was raised in Denmark.
You moved in Denmark, but you mix your origin. Where do you born and where do you live? In a wonderful way of two. And
Yeah,
this is something I learned because I live in another country and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, growing up, I also knew that, like, especially being detached from Greenland, being raised in Denmark, I wanted to create stuff that was connected to my Greenlandic background. So that's what I usually do when I do my own stuff.
I begin to interpret and say something about this because you have a wonderful, wonderful job, but this is the things I really like. I like this illustration. For me, it's not sad. For me, it's really beautiful, and it's real.
Thank you.
And it's yes. And when you see this girl, you understand much better how this wonderful world working. Unfortunately, not for her, from all of us. A ver, la primera pregunta es por qué hace lo que hace. Le he dicho que ella siempre ha sido una persona muy creativa, siempre ha querido hacer cosas, siempre ha querido crear. Y en realidad, vamos a ver, el tema de ella en un determinado momento entendió que se quería dedicar a ser ilustradora, pero que en realidad ella siempre había hecho muchas cosas entre medias. Y escogió el hecho de ser ilustradora, diseñadora y demás, digamos que como fue una opción de las que tenía, por aquello de que ella lo que tenía era un espíritu creativo. El hecho de que ahora se dedique más a hacer ilustraciones y hacer otro tipo de cosas, no significa que el espíritu general siga estando así. Y yo lo que le he dicho que lo había obviado al principio es que ella nació en un sitio y después se mudó, ya es de un país y ha crecido en Dinamarca. Y las dos raíces, o sea, las raíces que tiene además se ve aquí, nació en Greenland y se mudó a Dinamarca. Y eso digamos que ella siempre no ha querido perder sus raíces y por eso siempre las ha tratado de plasmar en su trabajo. O sea, ella ha crecido en un país nórdico, pero que nació en otro. Y digamos que el hecho de que nazcas en un sitio y te vayas a otro significa que dejes atrás lo que tengas, sino simplemente que a lo que ya tenías añadas cosas nuevas y eso se ve muy bien en su trabajo. When someone wants to, for example, how was the process to make this book?
The monsters in there.
Yes.
Actually, the person that approached me with that one book I had worked with previously, she's also an Inuit from Greenland. And because we worked so well on the previous book, she asked me if I wanted to work on that one too. And of course I said yes, because I really loved the first one we did together. For that one, it took me, the process of making it was more that I got a story told to me about the different creatures, and I could pick out the ones that really spoke to me. And so I got to get all the artistic freedom I wanted to with these, and then just checking in with the writer to actually to hear if she actually liked the ideas and illustrations that I had for it. And luckily she loved all of it. So I think a project like that is wonderful because you can do anything in style. You can be very realistic and you can be very childish, or like go very into simple stuff, which is a dream in my world, at least, because I can easily get bored by just doing the same thing again and again and again. So yeah.
Y eso que, bueno, que ella había trabajado con la autora anteriormente, con la persona que hizo el texto y la propiedad del libro, es también de Groenlandia como ella, tiene unas raíces muy similares y en realidad es que a ella le gustó mucho tocar el tema y le dio total libertad a la hora de trabajar. Sobre todo, y lo que más le gustó fue, aparte que durante el proceso tuvieron la oportunidad de compartir un montón de ideas, fue el hecho de combinar estilos. O sea, si ves sus trabajos en esto, o sea, la portada de ella, y ves esa portada, que es absolutamente preciosa, que después la ves en grande, y después ves estos bichitos que también son de ella, que son muy lindos, que son Isecuac, something like that. Sorry from
Isekat.
my Isecat, but the only thing I don't have time is have a virtual meeting with you to understand much better the language. Sorry, I don't have enough
Oh, no
time to do
worries.
everything I want. But I like to do my homework, and this is our example. Is a totally different approach. He changed in a totally different way. This, for example, this or the beer and the small critter.
Yes.
The thing is, lo que a ella le gustó fue precisamente eso, poder combinar distintos estilos, hacer un estilo muy realista, un estilo muy infantil, un estilo que mezcla las dos cosas, porque esos son los proyectos en los que de verdad se encuentra gusto, los podía estar haciendo una vez y otra vez y otra vez, porque son los proyectos en los que de verdad tienes la oportunidad de demostrar sobre todo de lo que eres capaz. For example, this beer is incredible. It's
Thank
a
you.
totally different. No, because it's like the combination of the beer per se and the water, something over him and everything that is the thing.
But it's
I understand.
also, especially this one bear, it's inspired by a creature we already have in folklore, where it's the bear of the water, or a giant bear of the water. But then I wanted to combine those two and make the bear out of water, which was to me very interesting to play with that idea, to actually get this.
Por ejemplo, en el caso de este oso, que es el oso, el gran oso del agua, es un oso propio del folclore, I suppose the folklore of the Greenland.
Say again?
No, okay, I suppose this bear, you said it's part of the folklore, it's part of the mythology of the Greenland creatures.
Yes.
El tema es ese, y en este caso es el oso del agua y ella lo ha sacado fuera. Digamos que ella lo que ha hecho es sacar el oso de su hábitat para mostrarlo sobre la tierra. Y precisamente es como el proyecto anterior, o sea, este tipo de proyectos son los que te permiten ir un paso más más allá. You told what are your influence, because you try to use the singer, but apart of that, artistically speaking, what are your influence?
Creative influences like other artists.
Yes.
It always changes because I always find new people or new artists that I really like to follow. But I do have a couple just in my mind. There's a concept artist, a female concept artist that has worked within character design for quite a while, many years now. And her name is Charlie Bowater. She usually makes female characters or like humans, but she's also like she does that for AAA games, different games, and her stuff I find so, it's both interesting but also very there's a female touch that I really love about her work. And then there is Brittany Lee, who is a Disney artist. She does stuff. Actually, I have one of her images up here, or a couple of them up here. It's very flat. It's a different style. So the influences bounces a lot depending on the style to work in. Yeah. And let's see.
No, you say something about the female touch, and it's true. It's
yeah.
I don't want. I believe you and me are the same, different sex, but at last we are human being. But the things you like are the things I like, because we live in a society. Even if you live in the middle of nowhere, you have influence, and in some way, things for you are attractive for me, maybe not are the same. He dicho que bueno, que ella tiene muchas influencias, que el hecho de que le influye un artista no depende mucho del momento, que ella va saltando, le gusta ver lo que hacen alrededor suyo. Entonces ha puesto el ejemplo de dos ilustradoras, una de Disney que dice que tiene un par bueno, miren detrás, un par de las imágenes son de ella, de Britney Lee, y de otra ilustradora que también hace diseño de personajes, sobre todo femeninos. Dice que lo que más le gusta de esa ilustradora es que tiene digamos que un toque femenino. Y yo le he dicho en inglés que es verdad. I like this beer too. I like your beers, because I like the polar beer. I like the beer, but especially the polar beer. Maybe because I born in a place where it's possible, because I born near to Africa, and I begin to see many of these creatures when I moved to another country in the
Yeah, they're
north
very iconic.
of the world.
Like those
Yes,
creatures
exactly.
are just very. I think they're very strong in themselves, so I find them to be very attractive too. Like they're incredible animals, even though they're very dangerous.
Y después lo que me ha dicho es que en ambas autoras, sobre todo en la primera de la que habló, se nota el toque femenino a la hora de plantearlo. También le he dicho que me encantan sus osos, o sea, me encanta me encanta la anterior, y el que me encanta este. Bueno, no voy a ser malo porque está la ilustración entera aquí, no voy a estar poniendo. Una cosa es con aquí luce muchísimo más bonito porque no tiene ninguna tipografía. Pero ella ha dicho algo sobre el toque femenino. Because this virtual meeting is in the middle of the celebration of Women's Day. I believe that you and me you are an author, I am an author too, a different area, but we create something. And I believe you and me have different influence, some influence in many ways. But I believe that when you do something, I do something, the style are different, because we have different influence, different background, we are different sex. And it's true, even if you live in the middle of nowhere, the society teach you things that they don't teach me, and it's vice versa. Do you believe that when some women create something, are in a different way that a man, or is sometimes you see something and you say, this is made from a woman? No, it's made.
It actually depends
I
on
believe it's
who.
true. Yes.
Like I think
In your particular case.
Oh yeah.
In your case, when you accept something to do something, and you see, for example, because I have small kids, I read several books like this because it's normal. But the way you trade are not the same that in our, and because you even put small details like this. I think that it's my point of view, understand me, but the main difference normally between woman work and a men work is the details. You keep the details in much better way than the men normally.
Oh,
And
yeah, I think like a lot of men, like I've seen when even my own colleagues, they like to be fast and bold, and that's something that they are really good at, which gives them a different characteristic in comparison to, for example, me as a female. I like to be very meticulous, and my process might be a little bit slower, but again, it depends on the person, not always the gender. At least not what I've observed.
I believe it's true, but it is true that we try to do in fast mode, and normally you try to do in slow mode.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons in the movie industry, the person that say to the actor, hey, tomorrow you need to use the same t-shirt, the same shoes, and the same something. Normally is a woman, not a man. And if this is something when you work in that area, I don't know any man that do this job. Always are women, because they know, they keep every detail, they take notes. The next, before everything changed, they told to everyone, you need to carry with the same bag. Da, 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 da. The continuity is so important in the movie area, in the comics too. And normally it's a women. It's not a topic. It's a when the movie finishes and at last you find the women name in that part. Yo le he preguntado que si es verdad que hay una diferencia entre el trabajo que hacen los hombres y que hacen las mujeres. Y yo personalmente creo que lo hay. Y ella dice que depende de quién, depende de la persona, pero que sí que es cierto, y él lo dice por compañeros de trabajo, que los varones tratamos de hacer las cosas muy rápido, bien, pero muy rápido. Y las mujeres, las mujeres no, las mujeres son más lentas, más meticulosas, se preocupan más de determinadas cosas. Y eso, vamos a ver, hay mujeres que también trabajan rápido y hombres que trabajan muy lento, pero yo le he puesto el ejemplo de la persona que se encarga de que haya una continuidad. O sea, si una persona sale en una secuencia vestida de una manera y esa secuencia se desarrolla durante 3 días, es la que le dice, tú tienes que venir con la misma camiseta, el mismo pantalón, los mismos zapatos, el mismo reloj y la misma mochila. Y no es un tópico que siempre sea una mujer. O sea, es muy raro. Yo todavía no recuerdo ningún hombre que haga ese apartado específico en un rodaje, porque son las que mejor cuidan ese tipo de cosas. You do illustration, design characters, design stamp. I really like your stamp, especially the girl with something something from the health center. I really like. In a normal day, how much time you spend to do something like this wonderful image or the stamp, or 1 page or 2 or 3 from this book?
That actually depends on my how I feel mentally. Like if I'm exhausted, if I'm too tired, if I haven't slept, an illustration can take me a couple of days. But and it also depends on the style. The more simple ones I can do within like half a day, maybe a day or two. But the more intricate ones, some of the ones that you looked at, the big bear, that was very illustrated on the cover, that one took me from sketch to finish. I think it took me a week just to get all the details in and just to get that vision out.
Yes. Yes, because you show, well, you show everything. You show even the, I don't use the cover. Sorry. Aquí está. You see the 2 characters here and the everything. And what technique you use to make this this illustration?
I think that must have taken me like almost a week, just that one.
And what technique you use? Digital or physical? You use, what tools you use to make thing like that, or illustration like that, or the book?
Usually all my illustrations, when it comes to books, it's digitally painted and drawn. And I usually use either Photoshop or Procreate, because those are easy and familiar to me. But I'm starting to try out Studio Clip just to see how that works, because it is a similar software, but it's cheap. And it's very accessible. And then, for example, the one that you can actually see on the screen, that one is photo bashed together. That is not painted. It's like a lot of different images put together as a collage to make one character, and then painted over to actually make sure that everything looks as if it was just one image taken. So it's very different.
Le he preguntado fundamentalmente eso, bueno, el tema de cuánto tarda, dice que depende de lo cansado que esté, depende si ha dormido, depende también de la inspiración que tenga, que puede tardar desde un día y medio, las más sencillas, hasta pasarse una semana. Que la portada de Mythical Monster of Greenland, Survival Guide, se pasó una semana porque tiene muchísimo trabajo, muchísimos detalles y porque trabaja como trabaja. Le he preguntado cuáles son las herramientas que usa y dice que fundamentalmente todo es digital. Usa mucho el Photoshop, por ejemplo, y ahora está probando otro tipo de herramientas. Y por ejemplo, lo que vimos antes, que eran las ilustraciones, dice que eso es la misma ilustración y vas pintando encima partiendo de una base. Pero que en realidad es eso, en realidad, que ella al final es lo que comentó al principio, que lo que le gusta es experimentar y probar nuevas cosas precisamente para ver que su trabajo va creciendo. What is the situation in your country if you want to be an illustrator?
What the situation is.
Professionally speaking, o sea, you work only from your country. You have, well, this book are from a Canadian editorial. But
Yeah.
because one thing is, because this is inside a cultural foundation, and one of the principles of the foundation is promote and help people that work in that area, is to explain what the situation outside the Spain, and you live in a different country with different influence, with a totally different market. Even your country is smaller, but people read much more in your country, on the country I live, than in Spain. And I think it's good that from people in Spain know exactly what the situation in your country, if you want to be an illustrator, design characters or whatever. This is the thing. What is actually the situation is you work there.
When it comes to book illustrations, most illustrators actually have a normal job because illustration is not paid that well. But because I have a lot of connections in both Greenland and Canada, they actually pay better than Danish publishers. Because anything publishing related in Denmark, it can't really run on its own. It's very much paid by the government, because it's not, what do you call it? It's not really, from what I've heard, it's not profitable to be a publisher unless it's a best-selling book, and that rarely happens because Danish is not a very common language. It's only within the borders. No. So if publishing in English, that's way more. You can get paid better if you do it in English.
Exactly what happened with the comic book artists in Spain.
Yeah.
Normally, the comic book artists that work and live with the income they receive is because they publish in France, and after that, if some editor take the right and publish in Spain, it's good because they are from Spain, but they work from the French market because the difference between Spain and France is another universe if you compare. With the English is exactly the same, and with the Finnish guys it's exactly the same. The only people speak Finnish there, and there are some community in Canary Island and in Canada, but it's not like the other. I don't know how many million of people speak in English. If you publish in English, you have more market.
Exactly.
Pay much more. I understand perfectly well the situation. Yo le he dicho cuál es la situación en Islandia, en Dinamarca, si trabajas como ilustrador. Dice que el problema de Dinamarca es que es un país pequeño, que el danés lo habla muy poca gente, que suelen ser todo ediciones subvencionadas, porque editar ese tipo de libros tampoco es que dé un de grandes beneficios, que ella ha conseguido, como tiene conexiones, como puede ser el caso de la editorial que publica esos dos libros, trabajar fuera, porque en el mercado anglosajón se paga muchísimo mejor. Y en realidad lo que tienen que hacer es buscar salir fuera, porque limitarse, dice que normalmente la gente que trabaja como ilustradores en Dinamarca tiene un trabajo normal y después son ilustradores. Ella hace más cosas, se mueve en otros mercados y tiene más posibilidades. Y le he puesto el ejemplo de los artistas españoles, que la misma mayoría de los que viven de esto trabajan en Francia y después publican en España, pero cuando publican en España ya es otra cosa. Publican en España como de segunda, pero en realidad su trabajo está en Francia y eso se nota mucho. There are any, for example, you say one of the artists you like is a Disney artist. One stop. I like that. I don't know this is a character from the mythology, but when I saw it, say, wow. I choose this image because you don't send me, but I say, what is this? This is a character from the Greenland mythology too.
It is vaguely from Greenlandic mythology. There was a story about 10 brothers who wanted one female as their wife, but that this one girl had 7 other brothers, and they didn't like her to get married off. So her brothers just they, what do you call it? They hunted down the 10 brothers into the ocean, and they turned into orcas. So that's the inspiration. It's very vague, but I found it very interesting while I read it. So I wanted to try and make one of these brothers into a character.
Wow. I like your approach, but because I like this and I live in another country, but from someone from the south, the down, not the north, the south, you all look like, wow. I think you understand my approach. Le he dicho que, bueno, he parado un momento porque esta ilustración me la mandó ella, esta ilustración de su portfolio virtual y me encantó. Y le he preguntado si esto es un monstruo, si esto es un personaje del folclore de Groenlandia. Me ha dicho que sí, pero que la historia es la historia de 10 hermanos que querían que casarse con una determinada chica que tenía 7 hermanos. Los hermanos no estaban muy por la labor y al final entre ellos consiguen llevar a estos 10 hermanos al mar y los transforman en orcas. Y entonces ella lo que hizo ha sido pues querer ilustrar uno de estos personajes. Yo le he dicho que, bueno, como vivo aquí, sé cómo piensan las mujeres de estos países, pero como una persona del sur, quizás le daría, no sé, quizá un poco de miedo. En el buen sentido, pero todo hay que decir así. Do you like to do, for example, you design characters from, you do something in animation? Because I check, I say you do something, but do you want to be this is, I like this is the version in the language you speak to, because I think it's the similar than this, but I choose this cover too.
The first one, the image you can see on the screen right now, the dark one, that one was the first book I worked on ever as an illustrator. I didn't do the cover, but I did some illustrations inside of it. I think we were 7 illustrators working on that one collaborative, or like on our own illustrations on different creatures from Greenlandic mythology. So that was very interesting. Yeah.
Ella dice que esta es el primero que ella trabajó como ilustradora, junto con otros 7 ilustradores, y también es de mitología de Groenlandia. Confesa, I don't know, there are too many different characters in the mythology of Greenland.
There's
I like mythology, but unfortunately, no, I suppose because I like mythology. I believe it's much better than other. I spent 14 years in a private religious school, and I know a little bit things. And I like, when I left the school before that, I don't like the approach of this concept of official religion. I always like mythology, because I think because my parents like mythology too, especially my father. But
Yeah.
it's impossible for a normal, because I am pre-internet. Now it's more easy, but I am an older guy, and the only way to know these things was take a book, and to find a book from Greenland mythology, even Finnish mythology or Norwegian mythology or Swedish mythology was so you find in the original language, but not in English.
Yeah.
And I learned so many things in the last 15, 20 years, because now we have physical books and digital books. But I have no idea. There are so many characters in the Greenland mythology,
Yeah.
and different,
There's
the mix between. I suppose it's like in the Roman mythology or Greek mythology, but for me it has been a really good surprise. Return to the original question. Do you want to not only be an animator? Do you want to be to do something in animation in a big scale? Something like, I don't want to see a big movie, but something like 20, 30, 40, something. For example, something in animation way from the Greenland mythology.
I'm not an animator. I would love to do characters for animated. I'd love to design the characters for animated series. Obviously, I'd love that. That would be like wonderful to do anything for Disney or DreamWorks or Warner Brothers. That would be like crazy, amazing. But I think right now it is very close to my heart that I want to promote my own my heritage, the monsters from Greenlandic mythology, because they are not that known. I didn't know a lot of them before I actually started illustrating them and getting the stories. So I've learned a lot from it, and I hope to keep learning from it, because I'm also a very curious person when it comes to stories that I've never been told, especially when it comes to my own Greenlandic side. Yeah, but yeah. I'm not an animator.
No, but how, because there are the processes. There are many people involved in an animation movie, and it's important that someone begin to do something and you design. I like how you design the characters, and how, especially because you understand, because you are part of in some way part of this mythology, because you're born in Greenland and raised in another Nordic country, and in one way or another the weather is, we all need to live and understand how to live in this type of countries, because it's the in some way the enemy during especially during the winter. It's not so, in the introduction of mythical monsters of Greenland, is true for someone living like the people live in Lapland here in Finland. It's every day. You don't have different. There are different. There are summer, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, but it's always the same, because the changes are not so drastic like if you live, for example, in a big city, not so far away. But I think this is the thing is, you know how to mix different concepts, and this is the first step. Someone need to do something. It's like the storyboards, and someone need to draw something. It's the best way, especially when you work in this type of area. You use the illustration. You need to see something in front of you to know how to put the camera, how to animate something, and you think you are really good with that. And empiezo por el final y después sigo con el principio. La pregunta es si le gustaría ser animadora. Ella es diseñadora de personajes. Yo le he dicho, ella me ha dicho que es animadora, y yo le he dicho que sí, pero que en realidad tienes que partir de una base. O sea, cuando se empieza a hacer una película de animación, tiene que haber un estudio, un diseño de personajes y saber qué es lo que vas a hacer. Y cuando vas a hacer una película, tienes un storyboard, que al final viene a ser lo mismo. Para todo este tipo de áreas que son visuales, necesitas un punto de partida, y ella lo haría muy bien. Y ella ha dicho dicho que no es animadora, que sí, que le encantaría trabajar para un gran estudio como puede ser Disney, DreamWorks o Warner. Especially the DreamWorks and Warner. Disney is a totally different way. And it's my professional opinion, no my feelings are not in the middle of this. Pero que ella ahora mismo lo que le gusta, quiere dedicarse a trabajar en sus propios proyectos y sobre todo a conocer más, porque tiene una terrible curiosidad por conocer más cosas de la mitología de Groenlandia, porque es de lo que todavía no lo conoce todo y le gustaría conocerlo más. Pero que sí, si surgiese la oportunidad, estaría encantada. I know that this young boy want to begin to count. My younger boy, Lucas, begin to count with this book.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is actually
Yes.
what it was meant for.
Exactly, because we found this book last year. Was I think was in November? Yes, November, because the same email I sent to Inavic Media was in November, and the first email I sent to you was in November. And Lucas is 2 years, 1 month and a half or something like this. This is when they began to do this kind of things. And the good thing is, Bruno is the older, used the book to teach Lucas how to begin to read, because Bruno is older, it's 2 years more. That Bruno open and say, Lucas, this is the one. This is one well. And Lucas understand this is the one and this is one well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, and exactly say. And Lucas say, Bruno open the book like me. Or no, I take the book because they use me like I support the book. And Bruno say, Lucas, see, there are 2 beers, 1 beer and 2 beer. And I know that this tool is wonderful. It's one kid want to begin to learn, to know how to begin to count to 1 to 10. It's really nice.
Thank
But
you.
le he dicho que, a ver, you're welcome. Trust me, I have the real experience in my home, how well worked this book. Le he dicho que sé que este libro funciona porque mi hijo pequeño empezó a leer con este libro. Y mi hijo mayor lo que hacía era abrir la página y decir, mira, Lucas es el pequeño. Esto es un 1, es una ballena. Entonces decía, 1, una ballena. Después pasaba la página y lo sigue haciendo, de hecho. Mira, Lucas son 2 osos, un oso y 2 osos. O sea, que sé que el libro está aprender a contar con animales del Ártico y funciona. But do you believe that, for example, do you know if in the school they use book like this to teach about the mythical monster of the Greenland? Because I believe this is a
No.
really good tool.
Yeah, no, they're not using it in schools. They usually use it for tourists. When people come to Greenland to visit, that book is usually picked up by tourists so they can learn about the different stories we have in Greenland and all the monsters. Yeah, but we don't have that book is not used for schools, unfortunately.
But do you like if someone? Yeah, that's the answer, because I believe this is a good tool to teach this kind of things.
Yeah,
Because,
no, like the Greenlandic education system have a different publisher for that kind of stuff, and of course they actually do tell, like in those they still use the stories. They just use different illustration style for that kind of stuff. I sometimes work with the educational publisher in Greenland, which is very nice. So I get to see behind the scenes what the children are getting taught. So that's nice. But it's usually different stories.
Yes. Le he dicho, o sea, después de decir que el libro de cómo contar animales del Ártico funciona, cumple con su función, que si por ejemplo el libro de Mythical Monster of Greenland o monstruos míticos de Groenlandia se usa para enseñar, y dice que no, que se usa para que los turistas conozcan cuando van allí eso. Y yo le he dicho que a mí me parece muy válido. Dice que ella sí ha estado dentro del sistema, que conoce que en el sistema se cuentan las historias, pero se usa otro estilo totalmente diferente. Pero que sí, que le encantaría si se pudiera hacer. I suppose every creator have always something they want to do, but they don't have the time, the opportunity, the budget, unfortunately, or whatever. There are something you always want to do, but you don't find the. Oh, I don't know if the inspiration exists. I believe that in my personal experience, you have regular bad and horrible days, and time to time you have a one day. This day you sit down and do whatever you want to do in nothing. But normally you have regular days. But the inspiration per se, no. I think there are some ideas you really. There's sometimes you, in my experience, create something is do a puzzle without any idea. You need to something like this. You have many pieces like this. In that case, here you see that this is a small puzzle from Spider-Man from my older son. But when you create something, all the pieces are in white. You don't know. We don't know. You have no idea what do you want to do, and even if you create something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find the right way to do, and sometimes the puzzle is impossible to do. For that reason, for me, the concept of inspiration, I don't like to use. But it's true that every creator have this project inside his mind, and they want to do, they want to do, but they don't find the right moment, the inspiration, the da 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 da. There are something like this in your head, but you don't have time to do, or more or less, you are doing the things you want, and you are very happy with all the stuff you do.
I find that I don't have enough time for everything I want to do. I every time I get an idea, I put it down on a notepad, and then I put it aside and tell myself, okay, I'll get to this. And usually I find it at the most inconvenient point. So I'll look at the note again like half a year later, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was a nice idea, or that was a bad idea. And then usually I'll work on it more after I pick it up. Like, okay, so what could I do differently? For example, right now I actually want to do a lot more of my paintings. I have these 3 traditionally painted flower paintings, and I want to do an exhibition with them at a museum, because I've done that kind of stuff before, but I don't have the time for it. And that's really frustrating. But I also know, like, okay, it's one idea to want to paint just flowers. Maybe I could do something different, put a twist on it to make it more interesting and to give it some more meaning behind it. But yeah, that takes time. And of course, I have my bad days and my good days. Some days I get way too many ideas. Other days I'm so drained. So it changes a lot.
Yes, I know. I understand perfectly where you are feeling stressed. That is the only 24 hours per day is not enough. We need
Yeah.
days from, I don't know, 50 hours per day, something like that. I think 50 maybe is too much, but 28, 30, 35, but 24 is not enough.
Yeah.
Le he preguntado, es la pregunta esa que se le hace a todos los autores, si hay algún proyecto que por una cuestión una cuestión de presupuesto, una cuestión de tiempo, una cuestión de inspiración, que yo le he dicho que yo no creo en la inspiración. Yo creo que cuando una persona se pone a crear, puse el ejemplo del puzzle, o sea, utilice eso. Que estás haciendo un puzzle, lo que pasa es que no tienes nada en el lado, sino son piezas en blanco, y hay veces que consigues que el puzzle tenga algo y otras veces no lo consigue. Él dice que su principal problema es que no tiene suficiente tiempo. Que ya apunta las cosas, las deja, las quita, las revisa, pero que siempre se le queda algo pendiente. Entonces ha puesto el ejemplo de que detrás de ella tiene varios cuadros hechos por ella y de flores, y entonces a ella le gustaría hacer una exposición sobre ese tema, pero claro, el problema es que no consigue adelantar, y dice que de cierta manera la situación es muy frustrante. Pero que bueno, que en realidad al final es eso, al final es una cuestión de tiempo y una cuestión de, pues a lo mejor decir, no, en vez de hacer esto, voy a hacer esto también, que a lo mejor con esto consigo. Si elijo este camino, consigo terminarlo, y si coge el otro, siempre voy a estar tratando de hacer cosas y no lo voy a conseguir. Y dice que ella tiene días buenos, nuevamente días regulares, días que tienen muchas ideas y días que nada, que da igual, que se pone delante de la tableta, el ordenador y no le sale absolutamente nada. Y lo he dicho que entiendo perfectamente sus sentimientos porque cualquier persona que crea los tiene así. This question is, I know that there are artists, author like and author don't like, but I explain to you that the people that attend this meeting, sometimes they are actually professional, but they want to know much more about what things they do, people outside Spain. And there are many people that are the new generation that they want to be a comic book artist, illustrator, animator, design character, whatever, and they want to hear what are your experiences in that thing. Imagine you are not in your country, you are in a physical comic convention, or because Santa Cruz Comic is the international comic and illustration festival, and you sit down and someone asks, I want to be like you. I know this is sometimes is well, because normally you don't believe that anyone like you in that way, but I for your face, I understand that someone say something. Imagine someone say, I want to be like you. What I need to do?
If you ask me that, I would definitely say, yeah, what would I say? It's a very difficult question because it's like, to be like me would probably mean that you would have the same experiences as me, and that's almost impossible. But I think a lot of a lot of people who want to go into illustration, they would have to figure out, okay, so where are they right now when it comes to their experiences? Like, where are they in their drawing journey? Is it at a high level? Is it lower? If it's lower, maybe look into getting creative education, because that's what I did. I did it a couple of times. And I learned a lot from learning from teachers. They pushed me far. So either go to a creative school or find a mentorship online if you can't go outside of your country. And then from there, just keep looking at your own work critically. Like, what do you like about your own work? What do you want to make different? And then don't lose sight of where you actually want to go, because a lot of people drop off at some point. Like, you will keep having doubts about your work. I definitely keep having doubts about my own stuff, if it's good enough. And that's just part of it. But if you really want to be a creative, just go for it. There are so many different ways of going there, but just find a good group of people that can also give you feedback, who can look at your stuff and guide you in a way that you can't do on your own. I think that's probably the best advice I can give for anybody who wants to go into the creative field.
Really, you explain very well the different steps to need to do if you want to be exactly you want to create something. It's the same, the tools you use, everything you I don't well not yes I even I have exactly like you. I have good teachers, especially one teacher in the third year of the degree, that do something that is people believe is nothing, but is quite important. Is write something, put in front of the audience and read.
Yeah.
Sounds so simple, but it's when everything changes, because it's when you begin to understand, and after that sit down and someone say something about your job.
Yeah.
Because in my area, you write something and someone in wherever, in some place, sit down, open the book and begin to read.
Yeah.
And it's when someone invites to you and begin to read your book, and you sit down and begin to read, and you see the faces of the people. You not only hear what you are writing, it's you see the face of the people, and this is so important.
Yeah, it
This is
is.
something. A ver, le pregunto, o sea, lo último, empiezo por el final, el tema de que todo les voy a decir ahora, a mí, o sea, coincido con todo, incluso en la parte, aunque no he asistido a, digamos que a una universidad que me haya enseñado a escribir, per se, sí he tenido, sobre todo, una profesora que me enseñó a hacer algo tan simple como a escribir algo y leerlo delante de una audiencia y que esa audiencia me diera su opinión, porque es algo que te hace ver lo que va a pasar con tu trabajo. Tú, en mi caso particular, coges un libro y lo escribe y alguien se va a sentar a leerlo, en el caso particular de ella, y hace una ilustración exactamente igual que alguien lo va a ver y la va a interpretar. Y ha dicho que, bueno, que es una pregunta muy difícil, que para empezar, uno no puede ser como otra persona porque sus experiencias son distintas. Pero sí que lo que sí es importante es que lo primero que tiene que hacer la persona si se quiere dedicar a un trabajo como este es ver exactamente en qué estadio se encuentra. Vamos a ver si está en un estadio de que ya ha pasado por una formación académica y ya tiene, digamos, que la experiencia suficiente, o todavía tiene tiempo para formarse. Porque si todavía tiene tiempo para formarse, ya he dicho que ella lo ha hecho 2 veces y que ella ha tenido muy buenos profesores que la han empujado mucho, que la han hecho superarse a sí misma y que en ningún momento ha tenido la sensación de que está perdiendo el tiempo, y eso es muy importante. Y después, uno tiene que ser muy crítico con su trabajo. No significa ser destructivo, pero sí ser crítico con su trabajo. Y ponerlo enfrente de alguien que también ha dicho algo que es muy importante, que es el hecho de rodearse de gente que tenga afinidades similares a las tuyas, con las que puedas compartir y con la que puedas recibir lo que hace tanto el feedback, como puedas recibir opiniones. Porque uno crece profesionalmente poniéndose delante de alguien. O sea, tú puedes crear para ti y tenerlo eso como lo tiene ella, todo colgado en su habitación y solamente lo ve quien, en este caso, si habla con alguien como está hablando conmigo, si alguien va a su casa a verlo. Pero si de que cojas el trabajo y publiques y hagas un libro como este, esto lo va a ver cualquiera. Entonces, y ahí no tienes absolutamente ningún control. Entonces, y al final la conclusión es, si quieres hacer algo, y más algo como puede ser esto, tienes que arriesgarte, no puedes. O sea, no te dejes vencer por las críticas si no son las que tú esperabas, porque si de verdad quieres hacer esto, tienes que lanzarse hasta el final. You say one thing that normally many authors don't say, that for you the academic formation was really well. Because in Spain there are many authors say, I come to the university and they don't teach me how to. They say a lot of things, but I need to out to the university and see these things are good or not. Do you believe that even in this situation, it's good that you attend some kind of university, art institute, or wherever, or if you
Like
want to be?
like of course you can also if learning from teachers is not your thing, if you like I've met a couple of people who have never gone to university or an art school and still made it into the AAA game concept art industry. That's like huge. But they were very rigorous about themselves. So they taught themselves through watching YouTube videos and techniques from there, because that's how they will learn. And they were very what's the word there? They were very strict with themselves when it came to learning. So they learned on their own, but it's really tough to do that on your own but if you don't learn from teachers, try and do that. Of course, I'm not telling everybody should go to school if that's not for them. But I find that very few people actually make it into the industry without an education, because you also have to think about, if you get the education, you also get a lot of connections that can help you along the way, and you get to know more people who might have more connections, which is more important too, I think. But yeah, like
It's
you learn more as a
really good
team.
point. Yes, no, it's a really good point. Ella ha dicho que, a ver, no pretende que no todo el mundo tiene que ir a la universidad o una escuela de arte. Que ya conoce gente que está trabajando de diseño de personajes para videojuegos y para animación, pero y son gente que ha aprendido, no le gusta la parte académica y han aprendido viendo vídeos, son muy estrictos consigo mismos, pero dice que es mucho más difícil y que además el hecho de ir a una universidad no estás solo, o sea, tienes profesores, tienes compañeros, es un trabajo de equipo, y dentro de la universidad, por lo menos en el ambiente en el que se ha movido ella, acabas teniendo conexiones, y eso es muy importante. Porque cuando estás creando algo, eso lo dijo antes y yo lo digo ahora, cuando estás creando algo, tienes muchos momentos de dudas, tienes muchos momentos en los que dices, voy a dejarlo, porque voy a dejarlo. Y es bueno tener gente alrededor tuyo que tenga los mismos sentimientos y esté pasando por lo mismo, porque al final no es que un clavo saque a otro, pero digamos que ayuda y no se ve las cosas tan mal como se pensaban. Normally my last question is someone asked I want to be like you, but what is your next project or the last project actually you are working?
Right now I finished a children's book that I will be announcing in I guess in a month or so, if not less. And that will be like published in, I think, October. So I'm looking forward to having that book in my hands, because I spent a good half a year on working on that one.
I know this feeling too, to wait 1 year until you have this opportunity. Sam, algo pasó con tu conexión. There are some problem with your connection. I don't know exactly what happened. ¿O soy yo? Ah, no, creo que he sido yo el que se ha caído.
Sorry, my
es ella. No,
yeah, my connection went off.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's me. Le he preguntado si está trabajando en algo. Me ha dicho que ha terminado un libro, que acaba de terminar un libro de niños, que está deseando tenerlo en las manos y que ese libro en principio estará en octubre. It's the day when the new books. Que en octubre estará su nuevo libro. Do you want to say something more? Because I try to organize much better way this idea, because I told you when the first time I sent an email, my quest is promote your job outside your country, because I really, not only because Mike loves the books, I like the books and I like your style, and I say in Spanish, vayan a ver la página de ella, la página de internet de ella, con que pongan el nombre tienen sale la página web, porque lo que hemos visto no es nada en comparación a lo que hay en su portfolio virtual. Sobre todo, se lo digo a aquellas personas que les gusta el diseño de personajes, merece muchísimo la pena. Y después, lo mismo, si alguien tiene niños y quiere enseñarles a leer, por favor, léanse este libro. Coco, thank you very much. I really enjoy your job and I really enjoy this virtual meeting. And I hope you enjoy like me.
Likewise, yeah. It was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Please continue to do these wonderful things, because it's and I hope you have the opportunity to make a huge encyclopedia of the mythical monster of Greenland. Not like this, a big volume of 300 pages with all no, I suppose even in 300 pages it's impossible to put all the monster But I show to finish this because you make an stamp of this, but this is so scary. It's
Thank you.
it's
Yeah.
really it's really scary. And say you what is the name of this lovely creator, because my
Yeah. Kalimatsok.
yes, even the name is scary. But the spirit of the dead, I understand why. Please check because I understand with this illustration. Por favor, miren que hay también un sello de esto. I know I finished to do the same thing in Spanish, and when I finish, I say goodbye to you, but before I need to do something in Spanish. Dicho todo lo anterior, quiero agradecer una vez más a la Fundación, la Cátedra Cultural Moebius, la Universidad de La Laguna, a la Librería del Maldito, a Santa Cruz Cómics, a todas las instituciones que han ayudado y auspiciado el desarrollo del Día de la Mujer de este año 2024. Y por supuesto a número uno en este caso, de la Librería del Maldito, por haber conducido los mandos de la nave Enterprise de la misma forma que de costumbre. Y muchas gracias a la autora por habernos. Y le he dicho en inglés que espero que pueda hacer una enciclopedia de 300 páginas con todos los monstruos de la mitología de Groenlandia, porque seguro que le va a quedar realmente bien. Coco, thank you very much. I hope we have the opportunity to meet, or you travel to Finland one day to promote your job, or you travel to Spain to promote your job, because I would like to. And please do more children books, because now you have one family that I really enjoy with your job.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed
You're
this.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Buenas noches, y les dicho todo esto también, les emplazo a que continúen con las actividades que se van a desarrollar en los próximos días con motivo del día de la celebración del cómic en nuestro país. Buenas noches y muchas gracias.
Just finished.
Great. Thank you.
Coco, thank you very much. Trust me, I hope you make this